Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So to continue from the last video, in this part I'll be taking you through the entire first service process of my RTX 300. I'll also share my honest experience and thoughts about TVS service at the end. So if you are planning to buy or already own RTX 300, this information can be really crucial for you guys, so do watch till the end. Right now I've just entered Siliguri after covering almost 100 kilometers. So this is the Salugada area and my next stop will be TVS Annapurna showroom in Sevok Road. I was supposed to get my registration number plate installed at the showroom, but the showroom isn't open yet. Their service center is just a couple of lanes away here in Sevok Road itself. So I've come straight here for the service first. I'll get the number plate installed after the service is completed. So I have finally reached the service center of TVS Annapurna Siliguri for the first service of my RTX 300. I made sure that I reach early, and that actually helped because my bike was included in the first batch among all the motorcycles and scooters scheduled to be serviced today. Let's go ahead and see how the first service process of RTX 300 goes. So starting off, the first process here is to make the job card as usual in other service centers. The staff first asked me about any issues that I have been facing or I have noted down, checked the odometer reading, and the overall process was very smooth. Since I was early, the bike went straight inside without much of a waiting. One thing I really want to show you guys here is that they actually opened the front fairing and the panels and even removed the fuel tank for the detailed inspection. That's something I personally liked, and they are putting some effort because it shows they are not just doing job for formality but having a thorough and detailed inspection, which and they're giving a very careful monitoring of my RTX 300, which I liked a lot. Now the interesting point over here is the RTX 300 has only 12.5 liter fuel tank, which looks quite smaller, and if you see over here, which is slightly on the smaller side, particularly when you see from the touring perspective, it can be put as a negative point for some people. But at the same time, once the front panels are opened, you can clearly see why this bike looks so bulky and muscular, because this is the main reason for this bike to have that enhanced and bulky look. Most of that visual of bulky look actually comes from this particular front design and the panels, and not the tank itself. Coming to the oil change, so this is the engine oil that will be running inside my RTX 300. You can see the labeling, and this is a 1.5 liter can over here. They said they are going to pour 1.3 liters out of total 1.5 liters because that is the required amount of oil inside the engine, and the remaining 200 ml they handed over to me by putting it in a small bottle, and they also advised me to top it up later to use it as a top up after around 3000 kilometers, which I think it's actually a good practice. One thing where I was really disappointed was the filter. The oil filter was not changed, and the reason they told me that the oil filter is currently not available and it hasn't arrived from the company itself. Honestly, I wouldn't blame the service center people here, because if the company hasn't supplied the part, there's not much I guess they can even do something about it. The oil filter change should happen during the first service, so I am really disappointed because of the unavailability of the parts in the TVS service center. So these are a few things that has to be noted down as far as the overall service experience is concerned. They said the air filter was perfectly fine. The brake pads were inspected and they were also fine. They also inspected the ball joints. They were trying to tighten any loose nuts and bolts. Chain was properly cleaned, lubricated, and they also adjusted the chain. To be very honest, refitting the panels took a lot of time. There were many bolts and screws, and the rubber panels inside are quite tricky to place back because the space is very limited, so it's difficult to even put your hand inside properly, and that is why the fitting was taking a lot of time. So basically all the standard first service checks were done properly. After everything was done, the bike got a proper wash. So while I was waiting for my registration number to be installed, I noticed a couple of really good looking EV scooters from TVS. So this one is TVS Orbiter, which looks really awesome, and the TVS iQube. Honestly, their TFT console and the design that they have given to the scooters, they look quite premium when you look at them in person. EV scooters are becoming very practical nowadays. You have seen a lot of people using it, particularly in the city. They are silent, smooth, and make a lot of sense for urban riders. Before we go ahead, I'll be sharing my honest and detailed opinion about the TVS service experience at the end of this video. For now, most of my work on the bike is done. The first service is completed, the number plate is already installed, and at this point I've already left the TVS showroom. So now I'm heading towards another interesting part of today's video. I'll be meeting one very inspiring and well-established YouTuber from Siliguri, and his YouTube channel is Bikers Niladri, and he will be taking my RTX 300 for a proper review. So do check out his channel Biker Niladri for ultimate and detailed review of this particular motorcycle RTX 300. Link will be there in the description. So finally I met Niladri Bhai here in Salbari, and initially we had a good amount of conversation, mostly discussing about the bike, talking about different perspectives from different angles. He was asking me about my experience so far with RTX 300. Then we swapped our motorcycles from here onwards, and then he took my bike for his review video, and right now I'm riding his motorcycle. I'll be heading to meet one of my cousins over here. Overall, I guess it took around 2 hours, 2.5 hours to complete the whole video for him. I'm sure the video is going to be absolutely brilliant, the review of RTX 300. As I mentioned, you can check out the video. The video link will be there in the description, and you can also check his channel. So before we wrap up this video, let me share my honest overall experience of the first service, because I know this part is really important for many of you who are interested in RTX 300. Let's be very clear, the TVS as a brand does not have a best reputation when it comes to service experience and the parts availability. And even when I choose to purchase RTX 300, I also had that skeptical and mixed expectations. Now talking specifically about the service center, I should say that I was genuinely impressed. The technicians and the service manager gave a lot of priority to my motorcycle. That is what I felt. They inspected the bike properly, explained all the things patiently. On that front, I would honestly give them 8.5 out of 10. But here comes the disappointing part, and this is not about the service center, actually about the TVS as a company. The oil filter, which should have been replaced during the first service, was simply not available. So I feel that when a company decides to launch a motorcycle, particularly TVS entering into a ADV segment for the first time, basic service parts and accessories should be available without any excuses. So from that front, I should say that yes, it is a little bit disappointing from the TVS side. From the day one itself, when I purchased the bike, the accessories were missing. So I had taken a very raw bike. Only now, while I'm making this video, some accessories have finally started showing up on the website. But just imagine, my bike has been running without any accessories since the delivery. So what worries me more is riding without a crash guard. So if something happens, the body panels will directly take the hit, and that is not acceptable for an ADV style motorcycle. So yes, these things have made my experience with TVS a little sour. Not with the bike, I still don't have any major complaints about RTX 300, but with the brand's planning and preparedness. Talking about the overall cost of the first service, because many of you were asking me about the maintenance expenses. So for the first service, I was charged only for the engine oil. The engine oil cost came around 1600 rupees. Apart from that, I have also purchased an extra chain loop spray, which cost me around 466 rupees. So I have attached this bill here in the screen itself. You can have a look at it. So the total bill amount at the end of the day was 2450, including the GST of 370 rupees. There was no service or labor charges included, because TVS provides 3 free services, first, second and third. So total of 3 free services are provided by TVS. Ideally, the oil filter should also have been changed during the first service, but unfortunately that didn't happen due to the non-availability. Otherwise, the oil filter around 350 rupees would have been there in the bill. From the cost perspective, I feel that servicing the bike is manageable and not expensive at all, at least based on the first service experience. So I feel that servicing and maintenance of TVS RTX is quite manageable and pocket friendly. Even if the motorcycle itself is a very good product, but because of the TVS reputation of servicing, people tend to get skeptical. So let me know your thoughts, and if there is any question, put it up there in the comment section. Finally, I am heading back home. It was already dark by the time I left Siliguri, but honestly I don't mind riding bikes during night time. There is something very peaceful about riding at night. Normally you expect less traffic, but that day the traffic was quite huge, and during night time it also becomes a little bit easier to anticipate whether the car or the vehicle is coming from the other side of the curve. So yeah, as long as you ride in a very responsible manner, night rides can be really enjoyable. So to sum up my first service experience once again, yes, the non-availability of the parts, especially the oil filter, was the major disappointment. But apart from that, the way the service was carried out, the attention to the detail, and most importantly the behavior of staff and the technicians and the manager, I am genuinely satisfied, and as expected, the bike definitely feels better after after the first service. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe if you have not subscribed to the channel. More ownership updates, long-term reviews of this particular motorcycle with other motorcycles are coming soon. See you very soon with the next one. Until then, ride safe. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.